Right, let's get today's Media Watch for you now. James Creedon is here. He's been finding out what is making a buzz online and in the press. And James, we're going to start with reactions to what is going on in Germany, all of this political manoeuvrings, etc.
That's right.
Dissent over migration policy.
That's right. I'll start with a cartoon. It's by the Danish editorial cartoonist Niels Bo Bojesen. And what he's showing here is the fact that they struck a deal, a sort of they're now balancing each other out, if you like. This is the ongoing political battle between Horst Seehofer of I suppose the Bavarian equivalent of the CDU and Angela Merkel. But you can see that the agreement struck is essentially a sort of a closing of borders, if you like. Certainly the border with Austria. Just a quick run through some of the reactions that you're seeing online. Andrew Neil of The Spectator and BBC tweeting, saying she once welcomed hundreds of thousands of migrants into Germany. She's now agreed to build camps for those seeking asylum and to tighten the border with Austria to save her government. She is writing her final chapter. Now, I interpret that as him saying, because she made an about turn on that decision, she's writing her final chapter. She renounced on a position of principle, she's writing her final chapter. But actually, if you look at UKIP's Nigel Farage, he's saying she is paying the price for one of the biggest political mistakes we've seen in modern times. She's finished. So these are two people who would probably have a different interpretation of why she's finished, but kind of agree that this is at least kind of edging her closer to the exit, if you like.
She's had to move to the right. That's
to save her political skin. Ana Gomes of who is a Portuguese socialist MEP, very alarmed. Germany to have internment camps again, first for refugees, then what? Shame Angela Merkel for yielding to bigotry of CDU and Seehofer, the interior minister. This is Ian Brossat of the Communist Party. They are, sort of a mainstream political party in France, obviously far left. He's at the Paris City Hall. He says, last week at the European Summit, Macron aligned himself with the Italian far right. This evening, Merkel had to cede to the radical wing of her majority. Days are following one after the other in Europe, but they seem the same and they seem a little bit brown. In other words, kind of fascist. We need a strong alternative. This is Die Linke, German left-wing politician. He's basically saying transit centres, let's get it straight here. These are mass internment camps, and that is a term with a lot of connotations in Germany historically. And what he goes on to say, whereas the reaction of the SPD, which is of course the left-wing party, which sort of didn't want to get involved and just allowed that agreement to go ahead. Another cartoon here showing political football and I suppose migrants caught in the middle of all of that, and that's obviously kind of playing on the whole World Cup aspect of things. As Douglas Herbert was talking about a moment ago, what's going to happen to the Schengen Agreement now? This is Germany basically saying we're having, in borders within the Eurozone or within the Schengen
which is
Schengen
exactly
space.
what Merkel has wanted to avoid.
That's right. And so that opens a whole Pandora's box can of worms in terms of the security of Schengen into the future. Even the Brexit negotiations right now, the very touchy issue of the border between Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland, Theresa May saying that the Irish border is the only outstanding Brexit withdrawal issue. And this has been dragging on and on and on. And now the pro-Brexit brigade, or pro-Brexit camp, if you like, Merkel has agreed to tighten up the border between Germany and Austria to save her own skin. But Brussels insists we can't even have cameras on the Irish border. Classic EU hypocrisy. So look, it just basically means that things she might have politically saved her skin internally, but this remains.
At what cost? Absolutely.
This remains a very divisive issue. Bild, by the way, having supported Merkel for many years, have now changed their tune over the last number of months. They're supporting Seehofer here, and as the head of the Berlin bureau chief in Berlin said, Bild's turn against Merkel has been one of the most notable shifts of recent months. And often, I suppose, when tabloids change their tune, it can be a sign of things to come in terms of how they curry popular support and whatnot.
That crisis very much still ongoing in Germany.
It certainly is.
All right, as is the migrant situation. All right, let's move to something else then, because the environmental group Greenpeace has pulled off one of its famous stunts, this time to highlight the dangers of what would happen if a nuclear power plant fell into the hands of terrorists.
That's right. And so this has been happening since 2015 more and more. What they did this time, though, was particularly, and of course it is to get the attention of the media, and here we are talking about it, so well done. They had a drone in the form of a sort of Superman, if you like. I'll play their video so you can see it on their website. And the Superman went smack into the side of a nuclear power plant in Bouget near Lyon. And all of this is in a bid to show that these power plants were built kind of back in the 70s when there was no threat from drones. External threats were much more limited, and a number of these sort of stunts have been conducted since 2014. EDF, this plant belongs to EDF, is saying they're going to sue Greenpeace, but I mean, I suppose
maybe they helped them out,
right? Well, Greenpeace is doing, I suppose, you could argue the important job of drawing attention to these security issues. There's going to be a parliamentary report. It's not the first one, but a second parliamentary report coming out on Thursday, dealing with the whole security issue regarding nuclear power plants. So I suppose maybe the timing of this stunt might have been done on purpose in that regard. But certainly it is kind of worrying when you see that a drone can just get over, in it
drones
goes.
Post a whole world of new security challenges, don't they?
And even just yesterday with that French jailbreak, we saw that drones were used in the build-up to it.
Absolutely. James, thank you.